Hey there, thanks for joining me. I'm Dean, this is Woodwork Journey, and today we're talking about Zetsaw. Now, this isn't a paid advert or anything like that. I've just put this here in case people don't understand my accent when I say Zetsaw. So Zetsaw are the people that have sent these out. Now then, they've sent me out a few saws, and they asked me via Instagram if I would be interested in trying out these saws and maybe doing a reel. And I said, sure, no worries. But when I looked on their website, I also saw this saw guide. And this is something that really interested me, because I, on occasions, am not great with sawing, particularly, you know, dead straight 90-degree perpendicular or 45s by hand. Now, if I'm using a European kind of back saw, I've got more of a chance because of the weight on the spine. But with using Japanese saws, particularly, I have more of an issue, and it tends to kind of wobble about all over the place. So this, I wondered if it would be worth a try, and it absolutely is. So I want to show you that, and I'll show you the saws that Zetsaw have sent out. Now, I know it looks like I've not used any of them because they're in the packaging, but they've got these clips on them, and so you can take them off and put them back on again, which has allowed me to sort of keep them safe until I can make a stand for them, you know, or a wall mount for them. But first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this saw guide, because I think it's absolutely awesome. Then I'm going to show you the Zetsaws, and these saws are what I chose, and I'm replacing all of my Japanese saws with these to try them out and give them a full-on long-term review in maybe 6 months or something like that, or a year, or however long. So that's the plan, right? Let's get into it, because I think you're going to like this, because I think it's awesome. Just to jump in and reiterate, Zetsaw asked me if I'd just do an Instagram reel, but I've been so impressed with this, particularly this, but with the saws as well, that I decided to do the YouTube video. They don't get to see this before you do. They don't get to have any input on what I say or anything like that. And these are all my honest opinions about what I think of all this gear that I'm about to show you. Okay, so let's get into it. These are the saws that I'll be showing you shortly. Very excited to show you these. However, first and foremost, we're going to look at this. Now, this is what comes in the Saw Guide Best from Life Saws Zetsaw. And yeah, this is something that I was very excited about. And let me show you why. These two sections are spacers. Now, the small spacer goes with the big saw. The big spacer goes with the little saw, like so. We've got this, which is unmarked and is the back section, and then we've got this, which has the Saw Guide Best on the front and is the front section. You'll see that we've got these holes there, and that's because we can pop one of these threaded knobs through there and then screw that directly onto that little bar, like so. And we'll do the same with the other one. That slides into this top section. I am going to use the big spacer so we can use the small saw. That pops in between the two plates, as you can see there, and you've got those two little slice sections which go around the bolts. We've got things relatively well centered, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, you can see here that there is a gap between the two, and that's exactly where the saw blade is going to go. Before we go into that and a little bit more, let me show you more about this. And here, if we undo this, we can drop that down, and that is going to make sure that we have a fence to ride along, and we've also got a really comfortable grip. If you're left-handed, you can turn this around just by undoing these and pop them on this side. Then what we're going to need to do is get the saw. So for this one, I'm going to be using the smaller saw, as I said, because we put the bigger spacer in there. So all we've got to do there is slide that in the handle, and that'll click in place. We then tighten that up, nice and snug like so, and that's not going anywhere. You've got a nice kind of almost rubberized grip going on there, so it's nice and comfortable in the hand, and away we go. I've got this little piece of oak here, so what we're going to do is we'll mark along the side of it like so. Hopefully you can just about see what's going on there. And with that pencil line there, we're going to cut with this. Now I've got the fence going down like so. I'm going to slide the blade in between the bottom there, and you can see that when it gets into focus, there we go, that the saw guide doesn't interrupt with the blades. Now that's why we've got that spacer there, so it doesn't go too far up. And yeah, the blade kerf isn't bothered by the blades, because even at the back there, this section is recessed a little bit. If it focuses, there we go, that little section is recessed, so when the blade comes down, nothing upsets the kerf of the blade. So that goes in there like so. So at this point you can see that we've got the marking going on right there. So what I do now is I pop the saw guide, and pop the blade in first if we like, just like so. The saw guide goes in, and I make sure that the blade is on, or whichever side of the line that I'm cutting that I want to have straight. Now before I do that, just to show you once again that on this side we've got this fence down, so it's making sure that I'm 90 degrees to this face. So let's get into it. And there we have it, and I'm going to try and do this in an uncut way so you can see it's spot on. And oh, where are we? Where's the camera? There it is. That is bang on. That is absolutely spot on. And what about that way? Bang on once again. So yeah, that is perfect when it comes to getting a 90-degree cut. Okay, so what about if we want a 45-degree cut? Well, we need to loosen the guide out and pull that out. So we've got this face bare. Actually, I'll just reduce the fence on there as well, like so. Okay, so we've got this face bare. Then we have this, which is your 45-degree section. And that, once we take this little knob out, anytime you're ready, it's a long one, that will go either that way, like so, or that way, depending on which way you want your 45-degree to go. So when that happens, you'll see there's a hole under here, and you can see there's a hole in there which goes all the way through. So we'll pop that straight in there, and then what we'll do is we'll figure out which angle we want to cut. So I'm going to cut that one and then screw that on just like so. So we've got this kind of situation happening, and then where we've got our limiter at the back there, that can go in there, and we once again tighten up the screws like so. So we've got that bad boy now, and then all it is, we get the wood again. I'll drop the fence down again like so. Now it does help if you will fix this to your work desk, but let's see if we can do it without it. Do it all by hand. Okay, let's see if this works. And once again, without any cuts or anything like that. Let's see if I can show you how that's 45 degrees. Yeah, bang on. Bang on, as you can see. And once again, from a is it straight on the 90. I'm doing all of this while looking at trying to look at the camera at the same time. But yeah, bang on. So very, very good. So if you're doing picture framing or whatever you're doing, that with this is awesome. But that's not all. What about if you've got a larger sheet that you want to use? Well, for that, we've got a rear bumper as well. If you've got a longer piece that you want to cut, what you'll actually do is you will put, like if I want to cut this wood right here, this would be clamped down, and that would be my fence, if you like. And now I can, when this is at 90 degrees, I can then run this along the fence, sawing, move it along, sawing, move it along, sawing, move it along. You get me? So for a longer sheet good, totally doable as well. By the way, also in the package, you will also get this, which is just a spacer. So you can use this for different types and different thickness saws. Okay, so that is the saw guide. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. For something so simple, I love this so much. But yeah, I think that's great. Anyway, let's have a look at the other saws that they sent along. Now, as I said, this saw with the 2 blades comes with the saw guide kit, but these are a bunch of extra saws that we will be testing. So let me take you through them. This handy is a bit of an everything saw. This is good for plastic, pipe and all sorts of things. I don't know if it tells us what we're good for. There we go, plastic, soft metal and sawn wood. So we do have a sort of a general all-rounder. Now with this one, you may notice that the teeth have a very small, very shallow. There we go, zooming into that. Now you can see that the teeth are hardened, so I don't know if this is going to be resharpenable, but it's certainly something that will do a fine job. This, like I said, is a bit of a do-everything saw. This one, like the title says, is a flush cut saw. So for this bad boy, it's if you're using dowels or anything like that, and you need to flush cut them, it's very flexible. So essentially what you can do is you can sort of bend down into something and cut like that, you know, so you're going to get a really flush cut with the sign or with the side of it. And also we can see on the teeth that we've got kind of a more aggressive cross cut pattern going on with that one. So yeah, this will do a little bit of everything, but it is a slightly more aggressive blade than on the handy that we just looked at. Alrighty, so now we can see the larger Dazuki saw that we've got. I think they do a different couple of sizes of this, but this is the spined version. And what we've got going on here is this is available to do a whole bunch of things. So whether you want to cross cut, rip or whatever, you can get into it, but there is a back on it. So for this one, you can replace the blade as well. I think this is the only one that I've not used. Have I used it? I can't remember. But yeah, we can see that we've got a lovely looking blade going on right there, and you can see that this is replaceable as well. The teeth pattern on here, again, nice and shallow, so you're going to get nice clean cuts going on. You're not going to want to break down an 8x4 sheet with it, but it will give you very clean cuts for a whole bunch of different stuff. Now this is generally said to be for hardwood, but yeah, do with that what you will. And for our final saw, we've got the classic Ryoba 250. So this is the sort of your get out of jail free card. This one is super easy to use. Again, we've got a replaceable blade, but you'll notice on this one, I've just cut myself, you'll notice on this one that there's no spine. So what that means is that you can sort of do through cuts and all that sort of stuff a lot easier. You'll also see that we've got 2 different types of teeth. Let me show you those. At the top here, you can see that we've got your normal kind of ripping teeth, and you can see that I've been using this one quite a bunch already, so there's a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, you've got your kind of rip teeth going on right there, and then on the other side you've got your more classic cross-cut teeth as well. And I've been having a bang up time with this one. I think it's great that you can replace the blade, and yeah, it's nice and flexible as well. So you do have to pay attention to what you're doing, because obviously you don't want to overflex it and bend it or anything like that, but that is quite difficult to do. One of the great things with both this Ryoba and with the Dazuki is the fact that with this size you can two-hand it if needs be. So if you're getting a lot of work going, you can make sure that you're kind of getting dead straight and you can just work your way through the wood without getting too fatigued on just your main dominant arm. Again, I think they do multiple sizes of this particular saw as well. But these are the 4 saws that I will be using for a whole bunch of things, plus the ones that I got in the set. And yeah, so that will be my Japanese saw collection for the time being. I will be making a holder for all of these, so make sure you're subscribed to see that. And what I'll try and do is use things like this jig to make that particular holder. Okay, that is all I've got to show you. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, which could be under here somewhere, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.